We run about 50 different grants in any given year. There's a lot of administrative. We just got notice that, and here's the other, I mean, we are like audited all the time. So the federal inspector general, I believe, is coming out to audit like 3 of our federal grants. And there's a, we have to make sure everything's in order, that we have receipts for every expense that, we've had, and timesheets that everybody is being billed, that their salary is being billed to the proper grant, that we're not misusing funds. And so we take that responsibility very seriously. And that is where I spend a lot of my time. And so, what I'd like to say is, as a nonprofit, we absolutely continue to need community support, fundraising, come to our events and sponsorships. We continue to hold up our end of the bargain in making sure that the government grants that we do have are, we're good stewards of that money. We're using it responsibly and how it's supposed to be. And that we're also not overspending. We're being careful to have some operational funds and cash reserves to be able to ensure that we can still serve the clients that we serve and pay the salaries of the employees that we have undisrupted when things like, budget impasses happen. And I've gotten so many requests to say, like, how is this budget impasse hurting you? And it does hurt. I mean, we have to use our cash reserves to be able to continue our services. And I think sometimes that nonprofits that do that, maybe there's also a thought that they don't need your money. They don't need you to make a donation. And that's not true. If you give to a well-run nonprofit, your money is more likely to go where you want it to go and last than if you give it to another organization that maybe is struggling to make ends meet.
And struggling to make payroll.
Right. And that was, we took over Dress for Success, which was its own organization, and it was about to go under. And we were doing similar work. And their board president called me and said, I understand the YWCA does this type of employment work as well. Would you be interested in taking over Dress for Success? And we were, and we did. But when we took it over, they had $2,000 left in the bank.
Wow.
So anyone 6 months prior to that who gave to Dress for Success, if you would have made a charitable contribution to Dress for Success, I have no idea where your money went, because it didn't go to the program and service that you thought it was going to go to. And so I would just say, consider that, like, when you're vetting a nonprofit and wanting to support an agency, all of our financials are actually public, as any nonprofit is. All you have to do is pull a 990, and, you can see which organizations are struggling to make ends meet and which ones are not. And I think there's just this acceptance that nonprofits are, living, hand to mouth. And I don't know that should be how they run. And I know some can't help it. I'm not.
Yeah.
We're lucky, but
the more business structure there is to a nonprofit, and accountability and tracking and all these things you're describing, the more reliability there is to know that the money you're giving to that nonprofit is going to the programs and services, and not to keep it afloat or to pay for salaries.